it's time to kick off your shoes, put the kettle on, have a brew, and listen to this week's chat. Today I'm chatting to Andrea Rawson. Andrea and I appear as lunchmates on Steph's Packed Lunch on Channel 4. We met on Steph's Packed Lunch.
Yeah.
And we really hit it off, and we've been talking, haven't we, for a really long time now.
Yeah.
So we're kind of trying to support one another, and this is where the idea came from that we should maybe do Menopause Weekly and put more information out there. So you have very kindly agreed to let me have a chat to you on camera.
Yeah, for a foster dog as well.
Did you ever think that you were ever perimenopausal, and had you even heard of that?
I'd heard of the menopause, but I think it happened about maybe 3 years ago when I first thought of it, because we was in Bangkok. I was getting really like the slightest little thing and make me like jump off, and I'm like, and I think the worst of everything. So I think that's when it first started.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was awful.
Yeah. And this was in Bangkok?
Yeah, in Bangkok.
So this was a holiday?
Yeah.
When you should have been really happy?
Yeah.
And did it make you feel anxious or just snappy?
I was anxious and snappy.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's not me. I knew that wasn't me, because I've never been like that. Came back and phoned doctors.
Yeah.
And she did some bloods and said I was going for the menopause.
And I mean, other than just feeling snappy, how else are you actually suffering? Or are there any other symptoms, or is it literally just that you're snappy?
I get hot sweats now as well in a night. God, it's horrible. About 2 o'clock in the morning, it's constantly like dripping wet. And I've noticed I've put weight on as well, which is, I hate the bit about putting weight on. Nobody tells you that bit.
No. I mean, I've done quite a lot of research, and the research suggests that being menopausal and going on HRT doesn't necessarily make you put weight on. But it's just, as we're getting older, our metabolism changes and we tend to do less, and there is a tendency for us to put weight on.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's enough research being done that would suggest that actually going on HRT does or doesn't make you put weight on. I feel like we're being told that HRT doesn't make you put weight on, and that it's just that it's a natural process. As you get older, you will naturally just put more weight on. And for me as a woman, I don't want to I don't think that's good enough. I don't know how you feel about that.
Because I feel, about 10 years ago I used to be massive, so I lost loads of weight. And then since going from menopause and going on HRT, I'm sure that's what's made me put weight on. I can't be 100% sure. No. I do lots of exercise, trying to eat well. So I just think there's got to be something to do with the HRT that's...
Yeah, because when I was talking to Dave earlier, when we were having our lunch, Dave said, you don't eat a lot.
No, I don't hardly eat anything.
Yeah.
I don't hardly eat anything. I have breakfast and we have an evening meal.
So I think more research needs to be done, really, because as women we really don't want to have
awful.
this. I don't know, what do you call it? The bulge.
Yeah, the belly.
The belly. Yeah. And it is difficult, isn't it? The older you get to actually lose weight, it really is difficult. And I know the doctors will say, you are what you eat, and it's calorie intake. If your intake is more than your exercise, then you're going to put weight on. I don't know. I mean, I know that there's the science behind it. Well, you can put it on just looking at a cake. You don't have to eat it. You just look at it, and it's like, that's so unfair.
Even a lettuce leaf these days, like, that looks really nice. Bang.
This is our life now. But I wish that more could be done. I really do. I've chatted to a lot of people. And what seems to be coming across is that, there seems to be a lot of myths and misdiagnosis. What do you think to that?
No, because I remember the first time my doctor said, I'll put your antidepressant tablets. I'm like, I'm not depressed. I'm not depressed.
So antidepressants, any good for the menopause?
Antidepressants do not work for the low mood associated with the menopause. Antidepressants can be good for clinical depression, but we've done some research of 3,000 women and found that 66%, so 2/3, have been offered or given antidepressants for the low mood. They won't work. What will work is giving the hormones back, so replacing the hormones or topping up if people are perimenopausal, and that's with HRT, hormone replacement therapy.
And then we went on to tablets, which did nothing. So then we went on to a patch. That was the wrong patch for 6 months. It should have been for somebody who had an hysterectomy.
Andrea just said she'd been given the wrong HRT. Here's the latest NHS advice for anyone who has not had a hysterectomy. If you still have your womb, you'll need to take both estrogen and progesterone. Taking both helps to protect against the risk of womb cancer. You can get your estrogen from tablets, patches, sprays or gels. I quickly want to introduce Dave Rawson. This is Andrea's husband. Let's just see what he has to say on the matter.
They gave the wrong prescription, which was, luckily, she didn't know this until 6 months later, and it was only down to you, Sandra, that brought it to Andrea's attention that she was on the wrong HRT, and she had no idea she was on the wrong one.
That's amazing.
So luckily, because you brought it to her attention, she read up on it, and then she called the doctors and said, I'm on the wrong HRT, and now they've put her on the right HRT. But for that time, she would have carried on not knowing she wasn't on the right treatment. So on my behalf, I'd like to thank you for bringing that to her attention, for doing that.
Thank you. And just as an add-on there, the only reason that I knew about this was because I'd actually read Davina McCall's book, and I found this nugget of information that actually could have had devastating effects.
Absolutely.
Had she continued on that. I'm
Yeah.
not saying for sure, but the outcome could have gone in the wrong direction.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's look at this in a little bit more detail. First of all, we need to understand HRT. HRT is only available on prescription, and it will nearly always contain estrogen, often contain progesterone, and sometimes contain testosterone. If your HRT only contains estrogen, it's known as estrogen only HRT. If your HRT contains estrogen and progesterone, it's called the combined HRT. If you take estrogen and progesterone every day, it's called continuous combined HRT. And if you take estrogen every day but progesterone for only part of the month, it's called combined sequential HRT or cyclical HRT.
Now we've just swapped to another patch, which is a combined one, which seems to be doing nothing.
What kind of support at the GP practice have you had during this period?
None at all.
Has it been a struggle?
Yeah, because my doctor, you can't even get to see a doctor. It's a telephone conversation.
Yeah.
And that's no good, because you want to go in and physically sit with somebody and say, blah, 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 this is what's wrong.
Did you ever go to the GP and say, I think it's the menopause, can we talk HRT?
I went to her, can I have a blood test? Because
Really?
yeah. And she said, yeah, we'll do a blood test, but I used to get, you're not old enough.
Right, yeah.
And I'm like, but I'm 50 odd now, so surely that.
Yes.
So I do remember my doctor did say to me about, can you ask your mum? And I was like, my mum's not here, she's not been here for a long time. But my mum went through it early because she had an hysterectomy anyway, so. But I can remember my mum going through it, and if she hadn't got a patch on, you just get out of her way.
Wow. Wow. So your GP was assuming that had your mum gone on to the menopause early, that you would follow in that.
Yeah.
And so what? I'm shocked at that.
Yeah.
Because what evidence is there out there that would suggest
I don't know.
that would be the case?
My aunties didn't really have, like, many symptoms, and they've sailed through it.
Yeah.
But I think I must be on my mum's side, and
Oh wow! I don't know. I'm not a GP, but I'm just like, gosh.
Yeah, so
Is that the best that we can do?
Yeah, I was really
Ask
shocked.
your mum.
Yeah, I was really shocked because I thought that's the first thing I would have done if my mum had subbed in here. I said, Mum, I'm feeling like blah blah blah, and she would probably said, because my mum were a nurse, she probably said, yeah, you're going through menopause, go to doctors, and get it sorted. But she won't. So.
Well, do you know what? To be honest, I did ask my mum. It did dawn on me, and I thought, well, I was 45, and I thought, oh, this is early. I wonder how old my mum was, and I think my mum said she was about 42 or 43. So you know, maybe it is a thing, but I just wonder how much research has been done to suggest that yes, it is a thing.
Yeah,
you don't know, do you?
Yeah, I think they need to really look into it. I can't understand why. Well, personally, my doctors don't have a menopause nurse or doctor that you could just make an appointment and go see him, and then I know that me and Dave spoke about me going private, but why should I pay private?
No. You've paid all your life for your NI contribution, so you want to, you know, maximise on that really, and you deserve to, you know, that's what it's there for, isn't it? And I just think that, I don't think we get enough support. No. We really don't. I don't think the government are behind it. I don't think they're doing enough, and I think you're right. And I'll give you an example. When I recently went on HRT, I rang for a doctor's appointment, and she said we hold a HRT clinic once a fortnight with a specialist. She's our normal GP, but she specialises in HRT. I didn't know about this. I had no idea. It was like, you don't know because nobody tells you. So it makes sense, doesn't it, to actually plough some money into
and get somebody who's just a specialist in that. So you can just go and say, these are my symptoms, and then he or she, whoever it is, can say, yeah, you need to be do this. I'm going to ask if I can have another blood test to see which part of the menopause I'm actually going through at the moment.
Right.
I wish it'd just disappear.
I know.
Go back to normal.
I want the symptoms to just dissipate and just get back to. I'm nearly there. I think it's a massive improvement. It really is since going on HRT. I feel like 100% better. I'm nearly there. I feel like I'm almost the person that I was prior.
Yeah, I just don't think mine are the right strength at the moment, and I think she needs to.
What are you on at the moment?
Oh God.
Because they start you off at about 25, don't they?
It's a combined one, so I don't know which one it is.
Right.
But yeah, I think it's a really, really low dose.
Yeah, you see, they do that. They stick you on a low dose, make sure that you're okay with it, and then if you're not making improvements, they've got somewhere to go with it, haven't they? They can up the dose.
So that's what I'm hoping on Tuesday, that she'll say, right, we'll try a different dosage and see. I just want to feel normal.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that awful though, that you're actually telling me that you want to feel normal? Sort of thinking about men, and this is when they've really got to knuckle down, isn't it? And really be supportive and try and just understand that.
I'm lucky Dave's read up on it. I'm really lucky on that, so he does understand. But I think maybe you learn about your periods and things at school. Maybe they should mention about menopause, because nobody tells you about menopause.
They don't.
And then you all of a sudden hit an age and you're like, why am I feeling like this?
I know. Well, we don't get educated in school, and our parents, our mums didn't really talk about it, did they?
It was not a thing that you talked about back then, was it?
It was something that you just got through, wasn't it? That good old British bulldog mentality, wasn't it? Yeah. Just put up and shut up.
Yeah, I think if you talk to a lot of the older ones, like 70s and 80s, they'll go, oh, just get on with it. It's like the British old spirit, isn't it? Just get on with it. And you're thinking, but I can't live like this.
I know.
I just wanna go back to normal and enjoy myself and and not worry about going clothes shopping and not being able to find anything that fits because you look awful in it because you've got a belly.
And you don't feel good. You just don't feel good some days. I mean, I was just dragging my body around like it was some old carcass. I felt like, I've just had my day. I've had it. I'm in pain. Everything aches. I feel miserable. I'm feeling down. I'm feeling glum. Nothing can make me happy anymore. I feel sad all the time. And Dave just irritated me. Just irritated. Didn't have to do anything.
Yeah, they just
He just had to wake up
yeah.
and appear in the room, and I'm like, oh, I'm really irritated by the sight of you. And he's like, well, what have I done? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm just feeling wound up.
Did you find as well that sometimes you got emotional over nothing?
Yeah, definitely.
You just like start crying and you're like, why am I crying?
I think you're at your limit, aren't you, really?
Yeah, you're just like, then like you wake up in the morning and like your joints all hurt and you're like, I'm like, I feel like I'm like a 90-year-old some morning, and you're thinking, why am I feeling like this?
Yeah.
So
it's not fair, and it's not right, and it's not what we should have to put up with. And I think the more people that get into it, that talk about it, that share their experiences, you know, it's a support network. That's what we all need, don't we?
I mean, we're lucky that we can talk to each other about it, so it's good. And if it weren't for you, I wouldn't have known that patch that I was on was the wrong one, because I just took it thinking, my doctor knows what she's doing.
Yeah, I know. But you'd expect your GP to know what they're doing. They should do.
And then when I phoned her, she says, oh no, you're not on that patch. And then she looked and she went, oh, I must have made a mistake.
Oh.
And I'm like,
that could have been a fatal one.
Yeah, it's like I've been on that patch for 6 months and it's the wrong one. Yeah. So, but hey ho.
Yeah. But you're on the right one now. Well, thanks to Davina McCall's book, we realised, I know you were on it 6 months, but as soon as you told me what you were on, it rang alarm bells, and I came back, read the book and thought, oh, how am I going to tell you this?
Yeah, but
because it's not my place to tell you.
I'm glad you did, because if you didn't, I'd have just carried on thinking
I know.
I was on a patch that I should have been on.
Yeah.
Well, I could have been on that patch if I'd have had some tablets as well to go with it, but they didn't just.
No,
give me
you needed
tablets,
to be on those. And thank goodness I'd read the book, and I knew it was in there, and I was like, I know what I'll do. I'll just go, I'll send you some information about it, but I won't highlight that specific bit.
Just don't ask Sandra to send you any information. You get reels and reels.
Chat about the menopause.
It's like chat about the menopause.
Absolutely.
But if it helps somebody, this needs, and I'm so glad that more and more famous people are talking about it as well.
Yeah, they need to.
Yeah.
They really do need to. And I mean, Dave was saying earlier that, you know, when he was doing his research, there didn't seem to be much out there for men. It's finding it, isn't it? And making sure that it's current and it's relevant and it's not out of date.
Yeah.
And it's looking at, you know, the research. Some of it's really old research, and it's not helpful because, you know, things on the menopause, it's changing so quickly that what somebody thought 2 years ago is not right now.
Yeah. I think government needs to know more, even though they've done this, allegedly, this menopause. If you're on HRT, you can get a prescription now for a year or something. It's about 20 quid or something you pay. Like, you know, the prepayment certificates.
Yeah.
I think it's about 20, something like that, I read. So that hence I will be getting one once. Because it's what?
So again, something new yet again, isn't it?
It's like, what is it? I don't know, is it £9 something a prescription? So every time I got a monthly one, it were £9 something like. It adds up.
Yeah, it does. Well, unless you're retired like me, and I
am retired, but I'm not.
Years ago, I went and they said you can go on HRT, and I had a bleed, tiny bleed, and they said no, it's not for you, and I came off it. And to be honest with you, I believed everything that they said at that point in time. And then speaking to Davina and Naomi Potter, the doctor that was on Steph's, they said that's totally not the case. And I'm like, how can we have all this wrong information? I went a good 10, 12 years where I could have felt better. I could have had much better quality of life. So the reason why I'm highlighting all of this is really because I don't want anyone to suffer. Yeah, I don't think we should.
Because I was on the mini pill before, it was only when I was getting a little bit irate and stuff, I'm thinking this is not right. Because I was on mini pill, I didn't know. So not had a period for years and years, so you don't know.
No, you don't. So. We're absolutely clueless, and we have to rely on the experts, but I don't think there's enough experts out there. I think the government needs to do more, and I think if we can kickstart Menopause Weekly and Menopause Weekly Live, get the information out there, we might just be able to, at some point, if we get enough followers and enough subscribers, we might be able to start banging on government doors and saying we want to have a menopause expert in every single surgery, even if they run a clinic once a month, once a fortnight, once a week, whatever they can manage.
Even if it's not in every doctor's surgery, if it's in a doctor's surgery that's near you, that you can use
and go to, or a walk-in clinic even. Yeah, I mean, there's support groups for alcoholism, isn't there, and drug abuse. But there's no support centres or anybody opening the doors and doing presentations or training sessions or educational blogs about the menopause. It's like...
Yeah, you just need a little bit, you need more, there needs to be more out there.
I think so.
Yeah, so that like, people like us can just like find the information. You have to really, really look up if you really want to find out about it. You shouldn't have to do that.
It's like a scattergun approach, isn't it? You go on Google and it's just all over the place, and then you've got your little NHS bits that are okay, but they need to go the extra mile, don't they?
Because it still says on some of the side, HRT can still cause this, and this, and I think that's what it puts a lot of people off.
That's a big no-no. Yeah, that research was done years and years ago, and it wasn't done on a big enough range of people, and the people that were in that range were at the top end. They were quite old, so naturally the older you get, the more likely you are to get breast cancer. And you know, they've done it in the normal range when you first start your HRT and your menopause. Those statistics would have been a lot different, and they're still posting that now. It's wrong on every level. They should not be scaring us in this way.
It's like my mum had skin cancer, but she was on the HRT patch, and she got the skin cancer where she had it. So I always thought, oh my god, it was something to do with the HRT patch that caused it. And it really, when my doctor said, I'm going to put you on patch, I'm like, oh, I'm not sure. Because I thought you still had to wear it on your arm, but you don't. You stick it where, you know. But it was like really scared me. Because I'm thinking, is it because my mum? And I know it's not now, but there's that little thing when you start reading up and you're thinking, oh, it might have been that caused it.
Well, 10, 12 years ago, I was reluctant to go on HRT because of that report. I was scared that I would get cancer.
Yeah.
And that it would give me cancer, and I thought I'd rather just battle on. But you get to the end of the road and you think, I've got nothing left in me. I cannot battle on.
Yeah.
But you know,
it's just
it's exhausting every day just getting out of bed.
You like wake up and you think, oh, I wonder what's going to hurt today. If I don't have enough sleep, I mean, I don't sleep very well anyway. But if I wake up at like 2 o'clock and I'm like, oh no, not again.
Well, you and I are texting at 4 in the morning, aren't we? Most mornings.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this HRT is not kicking in yet. This is the last bit that I need fixing. I do need to flag up what I was recently told at the Women's Cancer Unit. Here goes. Hopefully, when you get, if they make the dosage higher and they get and they get that right, and it is a lot. It's a process, isn't it? And it will take time. But hopefully the end result will be the right result for you. I'm hoping.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Oh, I'll just carry on and just poor dear.
No. HRT's going to work. Give me 5.
It will work.
Thank you, Andrea. I think it's worth noting that at 2 recent appointments, one at the hospital and one with my own GP, I was informed of possible HRT shortages. Now, if you're not able to get some of your HRT, you may be putting yourself at a slightly higher risk of getting endometrial cancer. Here I am in Tesco's, unsuccessfully trying to source my own HRT because of these shortages. Nowadays, as if we're not suffering enough, we've got HRT supply problems. I was on Steph's packed lunch speaking to Davina McCall, and as a result of that, after 18 years of suffering, which I have from many symptoms and being misdiagnosed, finally went on HRT. Today my doctor rang me and said the supply issues, so can you ring around all the pharmacies and try and get this yourself? Cohen's don't have it, Boots the pharmacy don't have it, I'm now in Tesco's and they don't have it. Boots are prepared to put me on a waiting list, but it'll be too late. So yeah, a bit disappointing really, ladies. Just thought I'd report this, and I'm guessing most of you women out there probably already know that there is a shortage of HRT. I mean, how can this be? How can this happen? I'm blaming Brexit here, and it's disgusting, isn't it, really? So I've been the best part of the day trying to source my HRT. I've been unsuccessful. Boots are prepared, as I say, to put me on their waiting list, but unfortunately I've had to come all the way back to Tesco's because, one, they're just not answering the telephone. I can't blame the ladies in the booth. They're working really hard. Their queues are absolutely massive. But yeah, what they didn't do was release the spine, which means Boots aren't able to then put me on to their waiting list. I mean, come on, this is just poor, bad service. Yeah, didn't even get an apology from Tesco's, just a 30-mile round trip because they won't answer their telephones in the pharmacy department. I think the thing that annoys me the most is that everywhere that I've been today and everybody that I've spoken to are all telling me the exact same thing, that they are all aware that there is a shortage of HRT. I don't know what we're supposed to do here. After spending the best part of yesterday trying to source my HRT prescription, I went back to my original pharmacy and said that I was really struggling. They told me that one of the items on my prescription, they are allowed to just change. So they gave me this one, which is Everel 50 instead, which still left this one, which is Utrogestan 100 for me to source. So I went back to my GP and told them that I was struggling to source this item, the Utrogestan, and I'm waiting to hear from the GP. Apparently what they will do if you are struggling is they will look at an alternative that's suitable for you. On this particular product here, the Utrogestan, the pharmacy are not allowed to issue something that would suit you that's similar. But on this item here, the Everel, your pharmacy can suggest an alternative for you. So that's where it stands right now. It's not fantastic, but there are wraparounds just in case you're struggling out there. And finally, just to finish on, I do have the NHS app which allows me to look at all my medical records and notes, so I can read everything that the GP has said about me. One of the things that's in my notes is that my possible bleeding could be down to the supply issues, and I had to move from Estradot to Everel. Please remember, I'm not medically qualified to give advice. I'm here to signpost and raise awareness. All information provided in this series will be relevant and up to date when posted. If you have any concerns about your physical or mental well-being, please contact a medically qualified practitioner.